the big one, the boy RDR versus Bo Nickal. Every once in a while in combat sports, you put all, at least in my opinion, or my I don't know, my expertise or whatever, my experience is what I'm trying to say. You want someone to win, and you don't like the guy they're fighting. So you not only do you want this guy to win, but you want the other guy to lose, and you want that to happen so bad, and it seems like it never does. The good guys never win. The guys you're rooting for, they never win. But then every once in a while, it happens. When Dustin knocked out Connor, it was like, yes. It's just everything in your being wants it to happen, and all the odds are stacked against them for whatever reason. I don't know what the odds closed at for this one, RDR versus Bo Nickal, but I know they were. I know they were bad. Genevieve says RDR looks like shit. How dare you, Genevieve? How dare you?
He did look like shit. He looked like he had a bad weight cut or possibly a good
I
one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Anonymous says I'm so happy for RDR and how active he's been at UFC. Yeah. Look, going into this, everybody was picking Bo Nickal. I think a lot of people. RDR had his first fight against Mearshart in the UFC. He comes over, double champion one. He comes over. He struggles kind of in that first fight with Mearshart. Looks a little sloppy, gasses out, gets the win. And I thought, okay, there's UFC jitters. That's a real thing. There's so much pressure. The weight cutting is completely different from what he's used to. That's a factor as well. And then Mearshart is a lot better than most people give him credit. I think. And then he comes out and he steamrolls Kevin Holland, and I'm like, hell yeah, that's the boy RDR. And in this one, everyone's like, yeah, his jujitsu is very good, but Bo Nickal's top game is like world class. His wrestling, it is world class. I don't like the guy, but his wrestling is fantastic. Sometimes heavy wrestling can like shut down or nullify jujitsu offense, and you're like, this guy's stuck trying to go for submissions, but the guy on top is like, all I care about is position. So I'm not leaving you anything to attack. And I could see how some people probably thought that was what was going to happen. For me personally, it was hard not to pick RDR in this one. I thought skill wise, he presents things that Bo Nickel has not seen, and he's a little like unorthodox in his movement and things like that. And that can really throw a wrench in somebody who's kind of new to the scene in Bo Nickel. What did you think about before this fight? Are you familiar with Bo Nickel at all? Just from
Yeah, I
sound
think
bites,
I've
maybe?
seen all of his fights because I usually
Okay.
tune in to the pay-per-views, and he's kind of been had
Yeah.
that Dana White privilege as well. He's been pushed, so he's been featured on main cards, mostly on pay-per-views. So I think I have seen most of his fights in UFC. I was back at Derrida though. I think obviously a little bit. I wanted him to win. I do know
Yeah.
him from years of covering his fights, and I feel like I was slightly offended how disrespected he's been by some UFC fans who dismiss
Okay.
anyone outside of UFC's world. Sometimes they think MMA only exists in the UFC, but no, there are other organizations. As we saw, it's not just one. We saw yesterday a Great Rising show and things like
Mhm.
that. There are other organizations. There are obviously not as stacked rosters in those organizations, but they do have some hidden gems like Derrida, who has, like I said on Twitter, I think unwavering self confidence. He, the second time or first time I interviewed him, I think maybe after he won his second belt and won, I asked someone. We did a live stream with him. Someone asked a question. You know, what would happen if you fought Israel Adesanya, who was middleweight champion at the time in UFC? Said, "I'll drag him down and choke him out in 2 minutes." He's not even
2 minutes.
joking. Like he genuinely believes he'd do that. And I think we're starting to see that may be a possibility. Yeah, he's climbing the ranks very quickly. I think he may get a top five next. Who knows? Strickland he called out after, but I don't want to get ahead. Let's go back to the fight breakdown. Sorry, I jumped the gun there,
No,
but
no,
I
you're good.
was
You're good.
expecting Derrida to win, and I was not expecting him to do it the way he did a TKO. But yeah,
Look, like I said, I also thought he was going to win this fight. I did not expect it to be just like an old school ass
yeah,
kicking.
yeah. It
Like,
was. It was because he's not known for that at all in
no.
one. I don't think he's ever had a. a finish, by knockout or TKO in one. I might be wrong, but it's always subs.
Yeah.
He's gone to decisions a few times as well, but he tends to grind people down on the ground, and yeah, it was shocking. It was it was pleasantly shocking. But I would say in his final fight and one against Malik in the rematch, he did show some improved stand up. And he's
Yeah.
out there with, is it Musasi in the Netherlands? He trains with some killers. Comes from, as I said, Netherlands. A lot of Dutch kickboxers history.
Mm.
So I don't think he's a slouch on the feet. He's a little unorthodox bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not pretty sometimes, but
Well,
he can be effective.
well, speaking of the moose, dude, the Musasi, he kinda moves like a adolescent moose, and I mean that with no disrespect. Like
Adolescent moose, great.
like, his limbs are so, like, long, right? And, like, I saw Genevieve say, like, it didn't seem like he's not reacting to getting hit, well anymore, like, he looks a little wobbly. I think that's kinda always been his stand-up. He's always been a little on skates a little bit on the feet because obviously he wants to be on the ground, but like you said, that Dutch kickboxing background is still there's still something there, at least fundamentally. And honestly, the his clinch work, not just for I mean, he tried a couple trips and they did not work, right? And good luck taking Bo Nickel down. His wrestling is fantastic. Um, trips like that aren't going to work on him. Bo Nickel got a takedown at one point, and I was like, oh fuck. I hope we don't see that top control wrestler just kind of smother a jiu-jitsu guy and not let him get anything. But then we saw the sweep from RDR, and once he hit that sweep, I was like, "Oh, we're off to the races." Even if he gets taken down, he's not going to just get shut down there. And that's always a question mark. You want to think RDA's jiu-jitsu or RDR's jiu-jitsu is so good, he's not going to get shut down, but it is a possibility. You know, anything can happen. But when he got the sweep, I was kind of breathed a sigh of relief a little bit. They got back up, and then his overhook control to pin because Bo Nickel wants to close the distance to take him down. He grabs the overhook, pins it tight up against him with his free hand. He grabs the far side wrist of Bo Nickel and just pulls that away from him. So Bo has the underhook on one side, but his right hand is being controlled and pushed away from his body, and it just completely opens him up for these knees to the body. And RDR is just hitting him with these knees. Not all of them are that big, but just stabbing him with knees throughout the whole fight. Every time RDR would try or Bo Nickel would try to clinch up with him, he just opens it up with that far side wrist control and then just stabs him with a knee, stabs him with a knee, and then they're back to the clinch. And there's a very good game plan. You could see that last finishing sequence, he kind of just beat him up against the fence. Bo looked like he was completely done in there, didn't want to be there anymore. He stumbles away, and then as soon as he comes in for that clinch again, RDR just hits him with that knee and just sits him down to a knee. Fucking awesome. I was so happy to see. HLB Comer says DDP versus RDR would be insane. Holy shit, that would be crazy. He's Europe's DDP. That would be fun because both of these guys are pretty unorthodox. It would be pretty fucking awesome. Uh, Ghost says technical takeaways, the clinch positioning where he has the overhook pry to get knee separation in the clinch was lovely, even combined it with collar tie work. Lovely transitional offense. Yeah. I mean, just cool work from RDR. And like you said, he's also been training a lot in Florida over at Killcliff also. So he's there with actually a decent amount of one guys too. Alan Law's there. I think Martin is also there. Martin Williams,
Martin's
I
back,
believe.
lives in Australia. He used to do his camps out there. I'm not
Yeah.
sure he does anymore, but
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Onglar is on the wall. He's got a picture.
yeah. So yeah, very
Yeah,
cool. And
Chandler's
as you
there.
mentioned,
Yeah,
he calls out Sean Strickland,
that's a
which
great call
RDR
out. I
was,
love it.
dude. It's so good. He's so good on the mic too. Like it just seems like he's thriving right now, and it makes me really happy to see
Yeah,
because I've always really liked him.
he has that priceless thing of, you've got a minute to shine on the mic after a win, make it count, and he usually does. He had some great call outs in one. I remember when he called out Brandon Vera, who had the heavyweight title
Oh,
at the time.
yeah.
Eventually led to his downfall in one because he didn't get Vera, he got Malakin a couple years later. But I do
Yeah.
believe if they had given him Brandon Vera at the time when he won his second belt, he would have beaten Brandon Vera and would have become a first three weight champion one. Just Malakin was too much for him. He bit off more than he could chew, like I said. And I think yeah, I wouldn't have done the middleweight title with Malikin if I was one.
No.
Yeah, sure. Light heavyweight. I think at the time the light heavyweight division was non-existent. You know, it was only him. He took the belt off Ongal. There was no one else. Yeah, maybe heavyweight was a little too much for him. When once Malikin was, you know, a much more dangerous threat, he should have abandoned that whole plan. But his confidence is sky high, and he believes he could beat Francis Ngannou. I'm sure. You know, he's that damn sure of himself, and I'm really intrigued to see how high he can go in the UFC. I wasn't sure myself, but
I mean,
my God, he's starting to look really good. Yeah,
and stylistically, the Strickland matchup is a good one for him, I think.
yeah,
I actually really like that style matchup. I don't think RDR is going to get frozen by the marching jab of Strickland. I just don't see that happening. And I also don't think Strickland's going to want to teep him as much as he teeps a lot of guys. And that's a big part of his game of freezing people, is either fainting or throwing the teep to the body. But you don't want to do that to RDR because he's going to catch it and take you down and choke you out. So yeah, that's a winnable fight for him. And he's Strickland. I just checked; he's number 2 in the division.
yeah,
So if they do make that fight, it's a very real chance RDR is right up there at the top.
yeah. Well, I guess Strickland and Izzy might be
Yeah,
next. I don't know.
probably.
So
I think that
if not,
probably.
I don't know who he would fight, but I'd be tempted to take my time with him, just let him reel off a few more wins, keep building his name. He's getting paid well, so why rush? But
Yeah, he might also be shut down for taking out the golden child. So we'll see.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week, and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.